And I'll start sharing my screen. Please let me know once the screen is visible to you all. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, let me share you the curriculum that is going to be uh, the bird's eye view of what all we are going to cover in this course. And it's not just that, it's even more actually, to be frank. So first of all, we'll be starting with the introduction to the Power BI, wherein we will be discussing mainly, we'll be starting with what is the business intelligence, and then what is the capabilities of Power BI as far as the business intelligence is concerned, and we will discuss on the installation part as well, and then we'll go on to discuss what are the building blocks of Power BI and what are the components of Power BI. Okay, and we will go through the GUI of Power BI. Okay, so this is the introduction, and then we'll start with the ETL part of Power BI, that is getting the data from different sources and transforming the same so that we can use that particular data to make different kinds of analysis and ultimately come up with the reports or visualizations that would make more sense to business end compared to the raw data. Okay, so in this part, we will be introduced to the ETL tool of Power BI, that is known as Power Query Editor. And in this, we will be getting the data from different sources. Now, the thing about this is that Power BI, through Power BI, we will be able to connect. Actually, the capability of Power BI is so that with Power BI, you will be able to connect to, I think, more than 100 or 150 plus data sources presently. And it always keeps on increasing the number of sources that you can connect to. Okay. And so, yes, so in this particular scenario, we'll be connecting to various data sources like SQL, MySQL, then the Excel files, CSV files, and the Access database. And also we'll try to connect to web as well. Okay, so this is the different data sources that we will be connecting to, and then we will be discussing on the different storage modes. Now, as far as the storage modes are concerned, there are storage modes in Power BI like the import mode, the direct query mode. There's also a live connection. So we'll discuss what are the differences between these storage modes and what are their particular advantages as well as disadvantages. Then we will actually start using the Power Query editor to do all the transformation related works like cleaning the data, uh, adding or removing the columns, adding or removing the rows, okay, clean, trim function, okay, and also establishing the data types, replacing the values, handling blanks, nulls, and errors, okay, and how to do pivoting, unpivoting, merging operation, appending operation. Merging is nothing but very similar to the joins which we have in SQL. Okay. And there afterwards, we'll be moving on to create new columns. Basically, we can create custom columns, then conditional columns, and also we can create columns by examples so that we can basically do the calculated columns. Okay, and then we will have a look into how to do the summarizing of the data, or basically how to produce the aggregate tables in Power BI with existing tables. Okay, and then we will also, in this case, we'll also look into what is meant by query folding in Power BI and how it is having so much influence in getting the incremental refresh. Okay, so all these things will be discussed in getting and transforming the data. And thereafterwards, we'll be moving on to one of the most important parts as far as the BI development is concerned, that is the concepts related to data modeling and bringing in Power BI into this context. So first of all, here we'll be starting with some of the basic data warehousing concepts, like what is a data warehouse, what is primary key, what is foreign key, okay, and what are the bridge tables, what are the different kinds of schemas that are available, okay, and what are the different cardinalities that can be established in a model, okay, and what are the filter directions, how they will impact your reporting skills. Okay, and all these things we'll be discussing as far as the data modeling in Power BI is concerned. And yeah, and we'll be discussing also about the visualizations, or basically this is the reporting is what we call it. Okay, so here we'll be discussing on the different types of visuals that are available in Power BI, okay, and how they can be configured, how the format tab can be used to configure different visuals. And in this, we'll be learning about different types of visuals like tables, bar charts, column charts, matrix, then pie charts, donut charts, and all the different types of visuals that are available in Power BI, including the map visuals, including some of the custom visuals, then also the waterfall chart and the options like bookmarks, drill down and drill through the differences between the same. Then also the things like bookmarks, I mean tooltips, the buttons, cards, KPI cards, all these things. Okay, and this is the thing. That is very important as far as the Power BI is concerned. This will actually determine your capability to generate the reports in Power BI, and that is nothing but data analysis expression, or basically it's simply called as DAX, which is nothing but the tool used to do the calculated columns and measures in Power BI. Okay. Now, DAX is very similar to some of the languages that you use uh, for programming sake. So in DAX, we can do different kinds of operations like mathematical operations, some of the conditional statements. Okay. And then we have the capabilities of DAX with respect to applying the filters. Then we have table generating functions. We have measure generating functions. We have time intelligence functions like the previous month, previous period, dates YTD. Okay. And we can create a dimension table, date dimension table based on that. Okay. And we will also use the same DAX to analyze how to create the summarized tables for this. Okay. And we'll be using, we'll be seeing how to use the variables for doing the DAX. And also we'll be discussing on using the quick measures to make DAX. And yeah, all this, all this while, we'll be actually working on developing a dashboard from end to end. And a dashboard in the sense, we will be trying to encompass all the capabilities of Power BI while developing that dashboard, which is nothing short of a project itself, actually. Okay. And once this dashboard is complete, then we'll be publishing this dashboard into the Power BI service, which is nothing but the cloud platform of Power BI, which is used to uh, publish, share, and collaborate our work with the uh, the colleagues of our organization, and also the client or the business end. Okay, so this is in this we'll be discussing also about the different licensing that are available in the Power BI, namely free, pro, and premium. And in premium as well, there are two types. One is premium per user, and another is premium for capacity. Okay, then we'll be discussing on the creating of workspaces, publishing reports, dashboards, creating apps, what are the gateways, how to schedule the data refresh, understanding the data flows. Then also we'll discuss about static and dynamic row level security. And not just that, we'll also be discussing about how to implement the incremental refresh, how to create a data flow, and what is the difference between a shared data set and a data flow. And once we are done with this, then we'll be discussing about the interview questions, which will be consisting of the conceptual questions and also the scenario based questions. Okay, so this is what is to be expected as far as the curriculum or this course is concerned. So any doubts as far now from anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, fine.
So how long will be the course like duration?
The course duration will be approximately 1.5 months. because I think over this period of time, I'll be taking nearly 30 hours of classes. So that's, although it's just a 30 days, but when it comes to the actual 30 days, we'll be working only from Monday to Friday. So usually it takes around 40 or 45 days. So 1.5 months is approximately what it's going to take. Hope that is clear.
So Monday, so Monday to Friday, from I mean like around 1 hour.
Yes, Monday to Friday, 7 to 8 in the morning. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any other doubts, people, with respect to the course is concerned? Okay, moving ahead. So we'll start with the introduction to Power BI. And before the introduction to Power BI, it is very important for us to know what is meant by the business intelligence or BI as a whole. Okay, so as you're as you're seeing in this particular slide, in gross term, we can say that the BI, or basically BI, is the set of various techniques and tools which are used to convert the raw data into a data which makes more sense or which we can get more insights from. Like, for example, just like the way you are seeing this image, the image on the, or basically this image on the left-hand side, it just contains some of the columns and some of the values in that columns. Basically, this is the arrangement of a table, okay? Relational database system, okay? But if you just have a look at it, and let's say, for example, it has somewhere around millions of rows and some 30 to 40 columns, okay, with millions of records, then just by looking at it, you will not be able to infer any outcome from this. So that's the reason what we do. We, first of all, we make this data kind of uniform, and then we do certain kind of analysis from this data. And once the analysis is done, we will be able to figure out certain insights from this data. Like you're seeing here, that is YTD sales, that year-to-date sales is so and so. And is it greater than previous year or is it lesser? That also will be able to figure out what are the top 5 products as far as the YTD sales is concerned. Or let's say, for example, what are the top 5 selling products of your organization? And what is the distribution of sales of your organization as far as the geography is concerned? Which are the states with maximum sales? Which are the states with minimum sales? Okay, so all these kind of analysis or insights you will be able to develop by using the set of techniques and tools which is known as business intelligence. Okay, so this is what business intelligence is. Okay, and as simple as it seems, when we actually go deep into this, it involves lots and lots of techniques, and it comes with lots of experience as well. Okay, and now we'll just have a look at the high level architecture of what business intelligence actually looks like in any organization. Okay, so it actually starts with this left part. What is this? These are nothing but different kinds of data sources that are available. So basically, in any organization, you will be getting the data from various sources, like it might be relational database systems, or it might be some Excel or Access files or CSV files, flat files, text files, or it might be coming on from some transaction systems, like, for example, some SAP systems or some banking domain systems, okay, or any data source per se. Okay, so what happens is in almost all the business intelligence systems that are used worldwide in any organization, all these data sources are brought in one platform, and this is called as staging environment, wherein the ETL is done. Now, the ETL people stands for extract, transform, and load. So what you are doing here is you are extracting the data from different sources and you're transforming it, meaning you are converting it to a uniform state so that you can load it into next stage and certain analysis can be done based on that data. Now, you might ask, what is meant by the transformation here? Because extraction means extracting the data from different sources, but what is the transformation that we are talking about? Now, the transformation people that we're talking about here is the data will be in the raw form. Means it also might be having some unwanted records, some unwanted columns, okay, or some data types which are not correctly established. Like, for example, the date data type might be just a number. So you have to convert those data types. You have to remove unwanted records. You might need to do some calculated columns in that. So all these things together is called as extract, transform, and load. And once this is done, this data is actually brought into a central repository, which is known as the data warehouse. Now, the data warehouse is again set of tools and techniques, which is all brought in together so that you will be able to store your historical data as well as present data into this central repository. Okay. And here what we do, you have the data with respect to, let's say, business from different domains. Okay. Then from this data warehouse, you make new data marts. Now you would like to ask what is meant by a data mart. Now let's say, for example, you own, let's say, a business related to construction. Now, even though the domain is a construction, it might contain the data related to some subdomains. Like, let's say, for example, one set of data is related to sales. Another set of data is related to the human resource utilization. Another set of data is related to, let's say, for example, who are your clients and who are your vendors. Okay. So these subsets of data which you make from data warehouse are called as data marts. Okay. And based on what kind of ultimate analysis you are doing, you will be importing these data marts into your BI tools. Now, what is meant by BI tool? The BI tool is where the Power BI comes into picture. The tools which are primarily meant for analysis of the data and generating ultimately the visuals and dashboards or reporting from that data, these come under the BI tools. It might be Power BI. It may be, let's say, for example, Tableau or Grafana, or even the tools like Spotfire, ClickSense. Many tools are available. And ultimately, you'll be able to generate various insights, which will be ultimately helping the business end to make their job easier. Okay, so this is what the high-level architecture of business intelligence actually looks like. So any doubts with respect to this, anyone, people? Is this understood to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So moving on. So just a bit more explanation on this part. Okay. So for example, you have a data warehouse which consists of different data. Now it might contain the metadata, summary data, or raw data. Now the metadata means the information about the data which is there in this. And summarized data means the aggregate data. And right now you don't worry about it. We will be generating the summarized data ourselves by using Power BI. Okay. So summary data is it kind of just gives you a summary of what all the raw data has to present you. Okay. So from this data warehouse, we basically develop the data marts, meaning, for example, data related to specific domains, as I explained earlier, like some of the data might be just related to the sales. Some of it might be related to marketing. Some of it might be related to the HR and employee details. And these subsets of the data from the original data warehouse is what we call the data marts. Okay, so this is about the data marts, people. Now let's try to understand why Power BI and in fact, why the BI tools are necessary. Okay. So as I said earlier, if you just have a look at the raw data in a tabular form, okay, it is very hard to read and draw the conclusions from. I know you can read it in the sense you can read the name of the columns, you can go on reading the records, but that is not going to help you to make something like the trend of the sales. Is it going up or is it going down? Or let's say, for example, just by looking at the tables, you will not be able to exactly tell which is the product that is going to that is actually selling well. To do that, you have to be, I mean, uh, coming up with certain techniques. And what are those techniques? Those techniques are nothing but the business intelligence. Okay, so BI tools are used to convert this raw data into business data. What is business data? Business data is the data which is easy to draw conclusions from. Okay, just for example, I'll show you. If you have a look at certain dashboards that we have done, okay, for example, if you look at this visual, let me just bring it into the focus mode. So you can clearly say that, or you can clearly picture that the sales with respect to different regions. What is that? For example, the West region is contributing to 32.22% of sale. East is contributing to 28.42% of sale. And the thing about Central and South region. Okay, so this is very simple to read compared to any raw data which is in the tabular form. Similarly, if you have a look at something like this visual, for example, this will clearly tell you what are your bottom 5 products, in the sense, what are your least selling products. Okay, so this is one of the visual, again, makes the business and job very simple. Or for example, you have to look into the, let's say, for example, the geographical distribution of your sales. So if you have a look at this map visual, this visual is actually called as a map visual. Okay, then you'll come to know that in this present case, the sales as far as the California is concerned, its figures are so and so. Okay, so this is how the reporting, or basically the business intelligence, will make life easier for business end. Okay, so this is how it is. Okay, so this is why business intelligence is important. And if you try to have a look at the table from which this is generated, that table actually looks like this. Okay, and just by looking at this table, you will never be able to tell these outcomes. These outcomes are generated after doing certain analysis from this original table. So that's why I'm saying business and business intelligence is nothing but making life easier for business end to make their decisions simple. Okay, so this is what business intelligence is all about. Now, there are various business intelligence tools used by various organizations. Okay, there is Power BI, there is Tableau, there is ClickView or ClickSense, then there is Alteryx, MSBI, and then SAP BI. There's also a tool from IBM, and then there are some other tools again like Spotfire, there's Grafana. There are numerous tools, but presently the most widely used tools are the Power BI, then there is Tableau, and also there is one more thing called as ClickSense or ClickView. Okay, and even among these, Power BI is most widely and most often used tools, or most sought after BI tool as far as the industries are concerned. And there are certain reasons for that. First reason is that Power BI has this incredible capabilities in terms of integration with different data sources, and not just that, integration with certain uh, ETL tools, dedicated ETL tools like Azure, okay, like Informatica, okay, and also like the Cube tools, which will help you generate the data in the Cube form, okay. So, and the thing is, it also, I mean, this is also very important to be known because Power BI, as far as the organizations is concerned, because Power BI is a bit cheaper compared to the other tools like Tableau and ClickView or ClickSense. And that is also one of the prime reasons why Power BI is widely used compared to all the other tools. In fact, I have seen many organizations going from migration from different tools to Power BI. Okay. I would like to request everyone to please mute yourselves. So, if we discuss about Power BI, it is important to know that Power BI actually is not a single tool, but it is a stack of components. What are the components of Power BI? Now, the first thing is Power BI Desktop. The Power BI Desktop is a tool, a software that you can install in your desktop and work offline, okay, to develop your reports. And then there is Power BI Service, which we can say, or we can call it as a SaaS, that is a software as a service, and it's a cloud-based application which is primarily used to publish, share, and collaborate your work with your organization. Okay, and then there is also an mobile app version of Power BI through which also we can review the content. And I'm telling you, Power BI mobile app is not primarily used to develop the reports or do the analysis. It is just used to review the content. And that also very rarely. Okay. Uh, I have not seen people using Power BI mobile app the most. Okay, because most of the time, the business end will be analyzing your reports in a computer itself, not the mobile. Okay. Then we have Power BI servers, which are nothing but the on-premise or local servers. Okay, so that is the one. And also then there is a Power BI report builder. We'll not be discussing about these too much because that's not the part of the curriculum. But it is supposed to be known that the Power BI report builder is used to generate something called as paginated reports. Same thing can be done with the help of one more software that is called as SSRS, SQL Server Report Services. Okay, so this is about the different components of the Power BI people. Okay, then yeah, let's try to discuss a bit about each of these components. Okay, now the Power BI desktop, why it is used? It is used primarily to get the data from different sources, then indulging in cleaning and transforming the data, then model the data that we want it to be presented in a way that we want to analyze, and then to develop the visualizations or reportings, and ultimately analyzing the reports. So this is why the Power BI desktop is used. And believe me, most of the work in any organization with respect to the BI or let's say Power BI, it goes on in Power BI desktop and not in service. The whole developing part will be developed here. And Power BI service mainly is used just for publishing, sharing, and collaborating your work with the organization that you're working in or to the business that you're working in. Okay. And then there is Power BI mobile. And mobile, as I said, Power BI mobile app is mainly used just for reviewing the content, and that too in not very often. Okay. So this is about the different components of Power BI people. Any doubts till now? Anyone?
No, sir.
Thank you. So moving ahead, we'll be discussing on the next thing, that is the building blocks of Power BI. Okay. So first things is the data sets. Now, what is meant by data set? Data set is nothing but the source of data, or let's say it might be in, let's say for sometimes in a CSV form, sometimes in Excel form, sometimes in, let's say, SQL Server database form. So data sets is nothing but it's a file basically which contains your data. Okay, that is what is called as data set. Now, data sets can also be developed in Power BI itself. Okay, let's say for example, I'll show you a data set or the data set which we have developed by using Power BI itself. Let me open a new instance of Power BI. Just give it a few seconds, it's going to load. Yeah, okay. Now, in Power BI, let's say, for example, I'll show you one more data set that is generated not by Excel or basically ESV, I mean CSV, but it is from the Power BI itself. So there's a thing called as Power BI data sets. And let me show you how the Power BI data sets look like. So for example, if I bring certain data set and try to connect to it. Now, if you see, this data has arrived. Okay, so these are the tables in this data, which contains different columns. Like for example, say it's forecast, and it has again the second table. Again, it comes with different columns. And this is the data set which we have from Power BI itself. Okay, so this is one of the data set. And as I said, the data sets can be also from other form like CSV, text files.
So,
Yes, please.
so you mean that data set will be always available in the Power BI software, or we need to upload it? Or like I lost you over there.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that.
Yeah.
First of all, it is to be known that the data sets which are, or just what I showed, the Power BI data set, it is supposed to be stored in the cloud platform or basically Power BI service, which I told you. Now, the thing which I just connected to this particular data set, I connected from the cloud, that is Power BI service.
Got it. Got it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
So it was in the cloud, and we retrieved that data from the cloud to the Power BI.
Exactly.
Got it.
So that is the thing about the data set. Okay, basically it contains data, as simple as that. Then we have the visualizations. Now visualizations is nothing but the different kinds of visuals, which might be some graphs or trend lines, maybe bar charts, column charts, maybe pie chart, or some visual which will make you help make some insights. Like for example, we have different dashboards here. So this is one visual which is called as a card visual. Okay, these are again the card visuals. This is a donut chart visual. This is a simple bar graph, and this is a map visual. Okay, so like this, there are different kinds of visual. There are even few more. Like for example, if you say go here, so you have a trend chart in here. So this is also kind of a visual. You have a simple table visual. Basically, this is a matrix visual. Okay, and here, so there are different kinds of visuals in Power BI, even the things like the waterfall chart, and there are certain custom visuals. So these are nothing but these are also the building blocks of Power BI. Okay, and then the third thing, that is the tiles. The tile in the sense, each visual will be having a tile. So if you click on this visual, a particular tile will be highlighted or focused like this. So this is called as a tile. This is one tile for this card visual. This is again a tile for this bar chart. This is again a tile for this column chart. Okay, this is a tile for the map chart. So tiles are nothing but the visuals themselves actually. Okay, but as I said, each visual will come in a separate tile altogether. Okay, so those are nothing but the tiles. Then we have the reports. Now the reports in the sense, this whole, let's say for example, I'll show you one more because our report might be having multiple pages. Okay, now this report, as you see, It consists of 3 pages. One is this page, which is visual. Then there is a page named table. Then the third page named comparison. So all these 3 pages together is called as a report or a Power BI report. Okay. So this is what is the meaning of report. Then there's also this one last thing, that is dashboard. Now, as far as the general BI is concerned, the term reports and dashboards are the terms which are used synonymously. People most of the time will mean the same thing when they talk about report or dashboard. But the thing about Power BI and in specific Power BI service is that the dashboards and reports have a bit of different meaning when it comes to Power BI service. And what is that? I'll definitely tell you once we come to that. But presently, you remember that as far as the business intelligence is concerned, reports and dashboard mean the same. But when it comes to Power BI service, dashboards are different and reports are a bit different compared to dashboards. And we'll discuss about that in very much detail. Don't you worry about that. Okay. So that is the thing. And here. Yeah. And now we'll be discussing about some of the views of the Power BI desktop. What are the different views of the Power BI desktop, and what is the general graphical user interface of a Power BI desktop? Okay. And as far as the installation of Power BI desktop is concerned, there are 2 ways to do it. One is simply you can go to this Microsoft Store. Okay. So you can open the Microsoft Store, and in Store, you can search for Power BI desktop. Okay, let me go ahead and do that. So if I go here, Power BI desktop. Okay. And all you need to do is you just need to click on the Power BI desktop. Right now in my system, it is showing installed because it's actually installed. But in your system, if you have not installed it, it might give you the option of installing it. Okay. And if you click on install, it will get downloaded and it will get installed. It's just clicking on next steps. Nothing else. No, there's no option to entering some code or anything. Okay, it's a very straightforward business. You just need to click install and it will get installed. It's a very simple thing. And there's also one more way where you can go to Power BI. You can Google Microsoft install, download and install Microsoft Power BI desktop, and it will take you. I mean, the first link itself will take you to the Microsoft website wherein you can download and install Power BI desktop by yourself manually. Okay, but as far as I think, this is a much more simpler version. I mean, simpler way to do the same. Okay, so this is how you download and install Power BI desktop, people. Okay, and yeah, let's come back to the graphical user interface of Microsoft Power BI. And generally, Microsoft Power BI, it actually looks like this. Now, when I say looks like this, it basically has 3 views, people. Presently, we are in report view. In report view, you can primarily see the report. Report in the sense you can see the visuals, okay, visuals and tiles, and you can filter the data. You can bring in more data. You can bring, we can bring in more visuals. You can add more filter to the visuals. Okay, all this interactive report. This is nothing but the interactive report. Let me show you. If I click on, let's say, for example, month January, all the data will be filtered for the Jan month. Here, for example, if I click on 2015, all the data will be filtered for the year 2015. Okay, so all this interactive report that you're seeing, this particular view is called as report view. Okay, then next we have this one more view which we call as table view. Now in table view, you will be shown the tables, that is the data behind generating that report, which is actually in a tabular form. Now this is, you might say it is visible just like Excel, and yeah, this is nothing but the tabular view, okay, which is what we call as table view. And you can, in this particular view, you can do the stuff like you can just have a look at different values that are there in this, the type of data type it has. For example, if I'm highlighting this, the data type it says is text one. Okay. And you can have a look at different columns in this. Okay. So all that stuff we can have a look at. Basically, you can have a look at your tables primarily. And then we have the third view in Power BI, which is called as the model view. Now, what is the model view? In the model view, you can actually have a look at the way these different tables are connected to in your data model. Okay, what is a fact table? What is a dimension table? Okay, how the facts and dimensions are connected, and what is the cross filter directions? What are the cardinalities that are implemented? Now, don't you worry about all those things right away, but yeah, we'll be discussing this modeling part also in very much detail, and how to do the modeling in Power BI, that also we'll be discussing in detail. Okay, so right now you just know that in the third view, that is the model view, you can actually have a look at the data model in Power BI. Okay, so this is about the different views that are available in Power BI. Okay, any doubts till now? Yes.
No, sir.
Okay, so yeah, and yeah, before going to the actual introduction of Power Query Editor, I would like to just discuss on the way the work flows in Power BI. Okay. So first of all, what we'll be doing, we'll be connecting to different data sources from Power BI desktop. And once that is done, we'll be using the ETL tool of Power BI, that is the Power Query Editor, to transform the data, to model the data. Okay. And once that is done, we'll be using the DAX language to create certain calculated columns and measures. Upon doing that, we will be actually creating the visuals, the reports, all the pages of the visuals, and sometimes on the dashboards. And once all of this is done, we will be actually publishing, sharing, and collaborating our work with the business end. Okay. Now, as simple as it seems, in actual, this deals with using a lot of techniques and involves a lot of discussions in your, I mean, among your team members in your organization. For example, this thing, the connecting to different data sources, this will be all of the all of these things will be discussed even before the start of the project. What are the different data sources that you will be connecting to, and what is a single platform that you will be bringing into? Let's say, for example, in some of the projects, what happens is there'll be different sources to the data, the original sources I'm talking about, like, let's say, for example, SAP data source, Excel data source, something might be stored in the SharePoint, something might be coming out of some sales transaction systems. Now, usually what happens is all of that will be brought into something like SQL or MySQL or PostgreSQL, or sometimes that might be brought into Azure Data Factory as well. Okay, so all these things will be brought in to a single platform, and then certain kind of ETL might be done not just in Power BI but in certain dedicated ETL tool. Okay, I'm talking right now. I'm talking about actually what happens in the organization. Now, there might be some dedicated ETL tools like Informatica, for example, or Azure Data Factory, wherein all the transformation will be done. And if that happens, then in Power BI, you'll be moving on to connecting the data sources to directly modeling the data, because the transformation will all be taken care by your data engineering team. I'm just telling you the scenario it might happen. But nonetheless, it is important for us to know that this ETL also can be done in Power BI as well. Okay. So yeah, the way this works is connecting to the data sources, doing the transformation of the data, modeling the data, creating calculated columns and measures, creating reports and visualizations, and ultimately presenting and sharing and collaborating the same with the business. Okay, so this is how the workflow in Power BI actually occurs. Okay, so any doubts with respect to this? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Fine then. So actually, we'll conclude here because from the next class, we will actually be starting with this part, that is connecting to different data sources. Okay, so we'll be connecting to all these different sources like CSV flat files, Excel, SQL Server, SharePoint folder, then maybe the Access database and also MySQL database. So we'll be starting with this part, and then we'll be gradually moving on to covering these parts. And believe me, it's a very detailed, it is going to be very detailed and interactive session, okay, with all the actual work being done in the Power BI desktop itself. Okay, it'll not be the theoretical class only. It'll be the work that I'll be doing, and here I'll be developing the dashboard right from the end to end. Okay, right from nothing actually. Okay, so that is how the further sessions are going to be. Now, before the next class, are there any doubts from your side with respect to this course or the curriculum basically?
So we will have like assignments based on the, I mean, the daily teaching.
Come again, please.
I mean, we will have the assignments based on the daily, I mean, the daily teaching.
See, the thing is, I'll be the way this works is I'll be actually sharing you the files and data sets as well, which I'm working on. Okay, so that you can work the same. Okay, and also I'll be sharing you some of the data sets on which you can do the similar things, or basically you can explore more. Okay, so that's how this is going to work. Okay.
Oh,
I'll be even sharing you my own PBIX file, which I have worked on. Okay, which will be nothing but the step-by-step implementation. Okay, so all you need to do is, I mean, you have to concentrate more on the live class. Then the class will be recorded anyways. You can go to the recorded class, do the same steps with the usage of the same data sets that I'm providing. And yeah, there will be some of the data sets I'll be sharing for your own exploration. You can do the similar stuff in those data sets, and you can implement the same in them. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. Okay.
so the class will be done on the Zoom itself or some other platform?
Actually, there's a platform called as a TNA. I mean, there's a Graphy platform.
Graphic. Okay,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
there the class will be done. Okay. Yeah.
okay.
Anything else, people? Fine, then I hope you're good. So yeah, I'd like to stop here. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And also I'd like to stop the recording.